It's hard to imagine, but over the last 5 years, nearly 200 young children in the Tampa Bay area have died from the two leading causes of preventable child death: unsafe sleep and drowning. Lisa Mayrose from Florida Department of Children and Families is back with how we can help save these little lives. Good to see you again. Again, it's a tough topic to discuss, but it's an important one.
It is, Carly.
Let's talk about these two areas. Last time you were here, we were talking about drowning. We'll get into that in just a minute, but let's talk about unsafe sleep. What is that? How do you define what that is?
So unsafe sleep is a practice that we see that happens with very young children, usually between 0 and 4 months, where the children are in an unsafe sleep environment. And that could be either sharing a bed with a caregiver, a parent. It could be items that are left in their crib. There's different tips and techniques that we try to educate our parents and families about how to prevent children from dying due to unsafe sleep habits.
Well, and let's talk about that. I remember having babies that are that young. I can remember the sleep-deprived feelings that are going on at that time. How do you help those families and keep reminding parents and caregivers what needs to be done? What are some of those?
Great question. So parents have so much on their plate these days, right? And you have a new baby and you want to bond with your baby. And oftentimes what we'll see are parents will get in the bed with their very young baby, they fall asleep. And then the next thing we know, a tragedy strikes where that child is unable to breathe and may suffocate in that situation. So we're really trying to educate the community on ways that you can still bond with your child and still love them, but provide a much safer sleep environment for them.
And what is that? What do people need to know to really make sure? So not sleeping together and the same co-sleeping.
Yes, so we call it the ABCs of safe sleep. And the first is the child sleeping alone. So you can still bond with your child and spend that quality time with your child by bringing the crib into your bedroom, not bringing the child into your bed, because that is unsafe. But by bringing the child in there, the child is sleeping alone in their crib, but you still have that experience with having your child very close by. The B is the child needs to be placed on their back. Never place the child on their stomach. If we place them on their back, they're not going to, even if they're able to roll over just a little bit, have a risk of suffocating in their sleeping situation. And the last is the C of the ABCs, which is in their crib. Making sure that the crib is safe. We don't want fluffy pillows and fluffy toys. We need a firm mattress with very
I'm thinking how much mine love to be swaddled. So I'm thinking, you know, blankets and things. I know you need to be careful.
It's very tempting, but also very dangerous. And that's what we do see when, unfortunately, we see these tragedies happen.
If people want to find out more about unsafe sleep practices and those things, where would you send them?
So preventneedlessdeaths.com. If you take just a few minutes, there's some great tips on making sure that you and your child can be safe.
We have about a minute left, and I want to go back to the drowning issue again that we talked about the last time you were here, because again, when you hear the numbers of just locally, not even just in Florida, but locally about this as well, it's scary. What do you want parents to keep in mind?
It's staggering. We don't want to be noted in Florida as the drowning capital of the United States when it comes to our children. We're 300 times more likely to see a child drown in the state of Florida.
Because of our waterways, because of the pool access?
Absolutely. Waterways, pool access, people coming in from out of town to stay in our tourist spots where there are pools at hotels. So really thinking about water in a more global arena. So, you know, really educating and making folks aware about ways that we can prevent those types of drownings in regard to supervision through identifying people who are designated to watch kids around waterways, making sure that they're getting safety and swimming lessons, knowing knowing CPR, and having safety barriers around any waterway in regard to child-proof locks, gates, alarms, and that type of thing can really prevent a tragedy.
And as we close here, I think it's always important to keep in mind that with both issues here, everyone thinks it can't happen to us.
That's right. It can happen to anyone, and we see it every day, and our goal is to stop the tragedies.
That's why we need more conversations like these.
Absolutely.
We appreciate your time this morning. Again, we'll make sure that website goes on our website as well. And we know it's a tough job you have, but we're thankful you do it.
Thank you, Carly.